up, y'all? It's Risa. We're doing another speed build today. So this time I did a speed build on purpose. So isn't that nice? So in my new Let's Play on the channel for my my Newcrest Family Tree Challenge, which is a challenge in The Sims I made up. If you want to learn more about it, the rules to that are in the description of this video and every video, you know, because that's how I am. If you want to watch that challenge and get some kind of context for that, I have an entire playlist on my channel that is for my Newcrest Family Tree Challenge. So my matriarch of this challenge, Lisa, she just finished her, spoilers I guess, but she did just finish her first aspiration of the painting? Yeah, master painter, whatever it's called. And I have now had her start doing the leader of the pack aspiration. Wow, I am losing words. That's because, spoiler alert, I have incredibly bad depression and I had to take a Xanax today so I could stop having panic attacks. So that's what's fueling this. That is what is fueling this voiceover. So, I made her leader of the pack, and she has now started a knitting club because I already had her knitting and I felt like that was a really good thing to do. I was trying to figure out where I wanted their clubhouse to be, and I kind of settled on, I'll just do it for, whatchamacallit, just any cafe, right? And then I had the fantastic idea of, what if I had a knitting cafe? I went through a couple iterations of what I wanted the concept to be. Did I want it to be like a tea room? Did I want it to be like a cat cafe mixed in with a knitting cafe? I decided to just go for knitting cafe. And I placed it in Brendleton Bay because I thought that really went with the feel of what I wanted to do. I wanted to do something pretty kitschy. I've been to a lot of places like this, is what I'm going to say, because I knit. I have been knitting since I was 12. It's just something that I like to do. I actually taught my mom how to knit, which is a thing to say that many people will be confused about. But I did. I've been crocheting since I was 7, and I got really into knitting, and then for a while I was spinning my own yarn until I found out I was allergic to wool and alpaca, which are the easiest things to spin, and my family had to basically be like, hey, you really cannot keep spinning if you're allergic to things. And I'm like, no, I can do it, and my hands were like blistered from it. Fantastic. I really miss spinning. I had a whole wheel, and I also had for a while I had a drop spindle, and it's just really hard to spin non-animal fibers, so I had to give it up and I was very sad. So back to the build. I have been to a lot of places like this in real life, so I had a lot to work with in my brain of what I wanted it to look like. I just had this perfect, just incredibly kitschy, it's a cafe on one side, and then it is a knitting store on the other side. And then in my mind, outside is where they would have, at that big round table, is where they would have their knitting club. But obviously in The Sims, it doesn't quite work like that because you can't knit at a slotted chair. So you can't knit at a table, which is really frustrating. But I kept it like that anyway because I thought it was really cute. I still thought it looked nice that you could sit around and, whatchamacallit, you could just sit around and, like, discuss knitting, maybe. I considered just putting all of the chairs around it and having them not slotted at the table, but I decided against it because I thought, it looks a little weird. But I went with just the big round table on the outside. I wanted to use as much nifty knitting as possible, so I used all of these, hanging plants for one thing because I thought they were really, really cute. I'm not gonna lie, I really enjoy how this ended up. I think it's really cute. I would love to be there. I want to go there. That's the thing. I would love to go to this place. I think it's adorable, and it's right by the bay, question mark. Here's the other thing I was having trouble with. Is this espresso bar, right? Because to have a cafe, it has to be an espresso bar. And I hate the way that thing looks. That specific object itself, it looks like it should line up with counters that we already have in the game. The ones I can never remember the names of specific items in this game. I've been playing it for 6 years and I'm like, they have names probably, but I won't remember them. But it looks like it should fit with that counter, but then it doesn't quite. It like matches, but the way that the object itself is like, how do I put it? The way it actually slots into things, it just doesn't work right. And it's frustrating. You know? But that's okay. I'll get over it. I already am over it. See, here's that really cute table. And can't you imagine people just sitting around that table in the back and they're like talking about knitting and what they're doing and helping each other with their knitting. I love that idea. I'm very sad that doesn't work out properly, like in gameplay, but it looks really cute, so I kept it, and that's kind of how I feel sometimes. I also wanted to be able to have like a cafe area where people are actually like drinking coffee and stuff, because one of the things I did for the club perks is I made it so that they drink coffee, listen to music, and knitting are their 3 like approved things. I think I literally just called it Knitting Club too. I should call it something else, but I don't know. Whatever. I wanted to use as much from Nifty Knitting as possible in this area. So I'm like trying to fit all of the decorations in. I love that I was able to fit that little octopus thing on the bar. I think that's really cute. So my next thing was I wanted to make like a knitting shop look. I know that that's not what it is. It's just purely decorative. But I wanted the idea of this is also a knitting store. So I have all of these yarns and stuff, and all of these tables are what I decided to call project tables, because that's the kind of thing. I also used to work at Michael's, so this will come as a surprise to no one that that I used to work at a craft store. So yeah. So what I wanted to do was I created these little project tables where I would put something. So on one table I have that little loom thing. On this table I have the penguin, and I think I end up putting Yarny there at the end too. And on another table I have, I can't remember what it is. You'll see in a second. But not only did I put those projects on there, I also added yarn balls in each color. Oh, a little cactus. That's what it was. So I added yarn balls of the colors that make up that project, and I put them on that table with the project so that it's like, I want to be able to make this project. I go over here to this table and I can get all of the supplies for it. And I thought that was really like cute. I really enjoyed that. And I did the same thing in that that table in the middle. I end up putting a bunch of different projects on, and then a bunch of different yarn for each color. And I thought that was like, not to toot my own horn, but I thought that was a really cute little, whatchamacallit? I'm just losing words right now. But a really cute little idea of that's what they have. Yeah, and I end up putting one of the poofs in the middle too, because you can knit those. So I was like, you might as well. And then I just go ham on the yarn balls. I'm like, well, in this project I see this color and this color and this color, so I need to put all of those colors on the table. And I never use the red shelf mod not because I have anything against it, but because I'm lazy. I pretty much don't use any mods in my games out of pure laziness of knowing that every time there's an update in The Sims, I will have to update mods. And I don't like that. I'm not about that life. I'm not... I don't have the energy to do that. So instead, I just do the trick where I slot it to the table, and then since I have move objects on, I can just move it over and it stays at that same height. Obviously, it's not as good of a trick as the red shelf is, which, by the way, you should be using that if you enjoy doing this kind of clutter work and not having anything look like it's floating. Because a couple of those balls of yarn are in fact floating, but you can't see it unless you're looking at it from that angle, so it seemed very silly to even bother. So, in a second, I think, I end up changing the height of the walls. I was kind of digging the medium wall height, and then this happened, and I couldn't get anything to actually sit on that terrace like I normally do. So I go around, I change everything up for this wall height, and then it wasn't the wall height that was the issue. It just didn't want to play ball, so I didn't want to undo everything, so I just kept it at short wall height and just kind of went, well then, fuck you too. I try not to cuss too much in my speed builds, but I can't though. I ended up just making them all really big. Just so I didn't have to use as many and so I could just be done. But I just really, really wanted that, terrace look of having all of the plants on top of it. It just did not want to work for me, and it was just so frustrating. But I got it done, and it looks fantastic. So, sometimes that's just how it goes. And it looks so pretty with, the light coming in through the leaves and everything. I think that's just adorable. Because this is in Brindleton Bay, I added the space heater. Did you know that space heater from Dine Out is industrial footprint 5? I'm like, that's a little ridiculous in my opinion, but I guess. You know what I should have done there under the window is have shelves and have more knitting stuff and tea stuff on there. That would have been nice. But I really like how those look anyway. I think it's cute. I was considering using the mustard and ketchup and stuff, but I was like, wait a second. No, this is a cafe, not a restaurant. You're not getting that. You're not getting things. You're not going to put ketchup and mustard on your croissant. And yes, I say it croissant because I'm an American, and I don't try to convince people that I'm not, is kind of what I'm going to say there. So now I spend a bunch of time on landscaping. That doesn't really matter, but I like it. Let's be real. Also, I've gotten really into using actual plants now that it makes the eco footprint change. Because I don't want worlds going industrial because I'm using the wrong stuff, if that makes sense. I don't want to be I'm gonna go hop down by the tea shop, or the knitting cafe is what I called it. I'm just gonna hop on down there and then the air level is so terrible. I don't want to do that. I'm not about that. So I'd really rather not. So I'm trying to make things look nice and also use real bushes and stuff instead of just using debug items and live edit objects, because those don't give you any kind of green eco footprint. But if you use the real plants, it does. So that's nice. I want everything to just... The thing that kills me is San Myshuno. Just randomly... It's not random, because, apartments, obviously you can't have trees and stuff in them. So it's always going to go slightly towards the industrial, and I think that's kind of frustrating because that's the best way you can get a green footprint in The Sims. The best way to do it is to just put lots of plants and stuff outside. But if you can't put lots of plants and stuff, then it's like going to go industrial, which is kind of a bummer in my opinion. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I really like using rocks, and I like going into debug for the specific pack that the world is from and getting the rocks from there because they match a lot better. Also, I was completely extra and I made my own garden path with those stones because I was like, that's the kind of place that would have one. It just is, you know? It's just like that. And I think it's really cute though. I just very rarely have the energy and will to do that once I get around to landscaping. I'm like trying to get things in that will fill as much space as possible in as little time as possible. I love using that object in Brindleton Bay, and I like using it to kind of like cover up the intersection of roofs. So I'm into it. So yeah, I'm not quite at the end of the video, but I'm going to start wrapping up my narration, and maybe you guys can listen to a bit of music while at the end of the build, which is, I think, fun. But if you guys want to watch me build this kind of stuff live, you can drop by my Twitch, which is Curlmeister Sisters. I stream pretty much every day except for Sunday. And it's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday that I stream The Sims for the most part. If you like this video, make sure you give it a big old thumbs up and leave me a comment telling me what you want to see me build in the future. Or what you think about this build. Only if it's good, though. I can only take constructive criticism right now. Only good stuff. Don't tell me it sucks. I will cry, and it will be your fault. Of course. If you like this video and you want to see more like it, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and push that bell button, that's the words I was looking for, and hit the bell button so that you can get a notification every time I post a new video. So thank you guys so much for watching and listening to me ramble, and I'll leave you guys in peace for the next minute or so while I finish up this build. Thank you guys so much for watching, and peace out, y'all.